Hello, guten Morgen. My name is Monica Leana, and you're with Books and Beauty, where I talk about books while doing my makeup. So, it's my day off. I'm gonna go get my nails done, and then I'm gonna go to the gym because it's snowing outside. So, me and the dogs are not gonna go for a walk because they're little. They don't like walking in this, and I don't like walking in this. So, I figured then I'm just gonna be proactive and just do other things. But I figured before I do that, I'm gonna talk about some books because I gotta do my makeup anyways. And what I wanted to talk about was stocking books because I like this genre, and I think that it's gotten really popular because of like you and stuff like that, and people just want more of that, which I can understand. And after looking at my like library of like things that I've read over the years, I have a lot of books that technically fits this theme. Some of them are actual stocking books, and then some of them just have stocking themes, and I'm like, it's actually quite a bit. I had to kind of break this down to a smaller list because I could have probably gone on and on. And some authors have more than one book that actually fits this theme, but I'm gonna try to just like focus on like maybe one or two of their books, not like everything, just because then we'd be here forever, and I gotta get going because my nail place is already open. By the time I get there, hopefully they're not busy, but you never know. Anyway, so we're gonna start with the one that everybody knows about, but I'm gonna say it anyways, and that is You by Caroline Kepnes. And it's also Hidden Bodies, and then her latest one, which is You Love Me, which this one follows Joe Goldberg. We all know Joe Goldberg. If you've seen the show, I still recommend you actually read the book because the book is different. It's not crazy different, but it's different enough. Like Joe in the show is like kind of likable. In the book, he is not likable. He is not likable at all. He is actually very mean and very crazy. Like you can see the craziness in the book. First in the show, he's kind of a somewhat anti-hero where you kind of root for him. And it's like, nah. In the book, he's not like that. In the second book, the Hidden Bodies one is really different than the show. Like extremely different. And then of course they're coming out with another season. I don't even think it's going to be like the third book because I think they've already started filming the third season, and this book just got out, so I don't even think they're going to be anything like each other. So I think if you like the show, I do technically recommend the books because they're so much different that it's like you would get enjoyment out of it. At least I did. I thought it was very funny because I first watched the show and then read the books, and it's funny to hear Joe Goldberg as kind of really evil in a way, and it's just like, oh, this is not what I was expecting. The next one is They Never Learn by Lane Fargo, and this one is about a lady professor who basically likes to kill men that deserve it. Like she's kind of like a Dexter in a way. She doesn't do a lot. She'll do like a little bit here and there because she knows like I can't do a lot because eventually I'll get caught. And she basically just like boys that have been accused of raping a girl on campus, but then of course nothing actually happens, she'll take them out and stuff like that. And yeah, and somebody ends up, I think a detective or something like that, starts to investigate because things are starting to look somewhat suspicious. So you kind of go from there. The next one is You Sent a Letter by Lucy Dawson. This one, I didn't know what I was getting into with this one. So I got this one because I think it was like half off or something. So I got it. And basically a woman on her wedding day gets a letter and like I think a picture of like she cheated on her soon-to-be husband one night. So like she drunkenly kind of cheated on him or something. I don't even know. I don't remember if she had sex with the guy or like she just like kissed the guy or what. But like somebody saw it, and it's basically like, hey, there's a letter. You need to read this letter at your ceremony, and you're not allowed to look at the letter because we're watching you. Because like I think it was like a hooded man came there and like gave it to her like in the middle of the night and everything. It was like, we are watching you, we know what's going on. If you don't do everything we say, he's gonna get these pictures and everything like that. So like her whole wedding day, she's just stressed out because like one, she doesn't know what's in this letter, and then like the stalker slash blackmailer is like sending her pictures and everything, and she's trying to figure out who the hell this person is. And believe me, you will never see it coming. This one is it's fast paced, anxiety inducing, because she's trying to figure out how to kind of try to get out of it. And then the actual ending of like what happened and who it was, it's just like like it's so messed up that you're just like, that was a lot. Like that was a lot. And it was like, oh my gosh. The next one is the new husband by DJ Palmer. I can't talk, I'm sorry. This one is about a husband goes missing, and the family pretty much assumes that like he walked out of their life, I guess, that he just left. Like I don't think they think that he's dead, but they're like, well, he just walked out of their life. A new guy comes around and like, you know, basically inserts them back into life, and the daughter is suspicious about him. She's like, I don't like him, I want my dad, he wouldn't just leave me. And the mom's like, you gotta accept that he left us. And even the brother is kind of cool with the new guy. Like I think because he's younger, and I think he's just kind of like, I just want to move on, like I want a dad, like he left us, like this guy is nice and like treats mom nice, like let's just go with that. And the daughter becomes pretty combative with the husband and is basically trying to prove that like he's not a good guy. And you end up finding out that the daughter is right, and like kind of what he did to insert himself in their lives and stuff like that. Jane Doe by Victoria Helen Stone. This one is about a psychopath. She knows she's a psychopath. Like she knows she has no feelings, but she has feelings for one person, which is her best friend, that ended up committing suicide. And the reason she committed suicide is because of a guy. Like there was a guy that basically she got into a relationship with, and he is a preacher's son. So he was one of those guys that's like, he acts so holy with now, like he's such a good guy, he's a preacher's son and everything like that, but then like he treats her like shit. Like he ends up like making her feel so bad about herself that she does low self-esteem and everything, and he breaks her down so hard that she eventually kills herself because of him. And the cops are not going to do anything because I think they can't like really prove anything. So she makes it her mission to like get at him and stuff like that. And she like gets a job at his like place of business and like really positions herself in his life to purposely like find dirt on him and everything like that. And it is very good. She, like I said, she has no feelings. The only person she literally has feelings for is like this woman that is now dead. And she's like, okay, I got it. I'm gonna fix this. Like I'm sad that like my friend is gone, but it's like, you will get it. And it's so good. And there is an actual second book. It's called Problem Child. That is when she finds out that she has a stepsister, or it was like a cousin that like goes missing, and she ends up like finding her and kind of taking her under the wing because she finds out she's pretty much she is her. And she's like, oh, I can work with you. Like I will teach you my ways, because she's smart. Like she's gotten to a point where she's smart. She knows what to do and what not to do, versus this girl is kind of getting into stuff that it's like, girl, this is petty. You're gonna get yourself put in jail. It's like, let's go for the big people. Like I'm gonna show you how to do it. So if you do like Jane Doe, I do recommend the second book, but that one's not stalkerish, just so you know. The End of Her by Sherry Lapina. This one is about a couple that the man gets blackmailed because like he had a wife that accidentally died by carbon monoxide. And because it was like snowing, she was in the car and he was like shoveling out the car, and the snow ended up being next to the pipe, and I guess it flooded with carbon monoxide without them knowing. Like, you know, you can't smell it, you just slowly die and stuff like that. But, you know, it was an accident. Like, he didn't mean to do it. She was just in a car and he was doing his, you know, just trying to shovel out the car and stuff like that. And this woman comes around threatening him, saying like, I know you did it on purpose and I have proof. And if you don't give me so-called money, I will tell the authorities what I know and, you know, maybe get this case reopened and stuff like that. So she like stalks him and blackmails him, and he's trying to convince his new wife like she's crazy. And she's like, well, like, why would she do this? I'm like, oh, she just wants money and stuff like that. And like, she was just jealous because I guess they may have had a relationship, and it's like, oh, she's just jealous and everything like that. So yeah. The next one is Bad Mommy by Taryn Fisher, and this one is for sure stalking. She is a woman that is very delusional. She thinks that this woman that she's living next to has her child. So I guess her child, I think her child died at birth or something like that. It's been a while since I've read it, so I don't really remember, but like, her child died at birth. But for some reason, she thinks that this child next door is her reincarnated child. She's very delusional. So she befriends the neighbor and like basically inserts herself into her life and the husband's life, so then that she can get close to the daughter to basically steal her. Like, she wants, like, her plan is to steal this child, but she's trying to, like, I guess do it somewhat sneakily and everything like that. And she ends up actually getting involved with the husband, and the husband is like a psychiatrist, and like, he knows that she's crazy, but like, he just wants to get fucked, so he just like allows it, but like, he knows that she's crazy. And the wife is actually weird too. Like, it's kind of weird, like the whole situation, like they all act kind of weird and very interesting in a way. But yeah, so basically it's just a mom that like wants her reincarnated daughter, which is less like, okay. The Wife Stalker by Levi Constantine. This one is about a woman who, her husband divorces her, I guess, or they get separated. I don't know if they got into his details. And she now kind of doesn't have access to the kids anymore. Like, she kind of has access, but she doesn't. And like, the new wife is kind of like, we need to have boundaries. Like, she's kind of coming around a lot. She's trying to do this, she's trying to do that. And the husband, at first, he's very like nice in the sense of like, you know, she's just, you know, she just wants to be with the kids and all this other stuff and whatnot. Like, we can't be mean to her and stuff like that. The kids like her. And eventually they start to put up boundaries because they're like, yeah, she's just coming around, she's doing a lot of inappropriate stuff. And yeah, that's like the thing. Like, I can't really say much more, but like, she just is stalking the new wife. Missing Molly by Natalie Barley. This one is about a woman who, she works with a radio station, and the radio station wants to do a new episode of like trying to find missing people. And one of the people they want to try to find is this Molly girl, because she disappeared like years ago. And they're like, ooh, maybe we can do a case by this one and maybe figure it out. Well, the lady that we're following doesn't want to do it because she is Molly. Like, she is Molly. She's the girl that they are trying to find. And the reason she's disappeared is because her ex was stalking her. So she ended up somehow, like, it says the details, I don't remember the details, but like, she got away and became this new person, and she's been disappeared for years now, and she's trying to keep it that way. And her boss is all confused. They're like, what is with you? Like, why are you like, you know, trying to get away from this and everything like that? And then eventually she gets on board to do the show to deter Like, that's what she does. She ends up being like, okay, I'll do it, but she's trying to purposely mislead them because it's like, yo, I am Molly, and I can't have him find me because he's going to kill me and stuff like that. So yeah. Planning Penelope by Aaron Lockwood. This one is like You, but it's not. So let me explain. So this guy is in love with this girl that does not know he exists. Like, he has been following her, I think like 3 to 4 years that they've been in like a relationship, and he stalks her big time. Like, literally, he knows where she's gonna be. He finds her on campus. She went on a vacation somewhere, and I guess his family home is also in that location. So when she went on vacation, he also went on that vacation and like followed her and her mom like at the grocery store and everything, but he never introduces himself to her. Like, he doesn't, it's not like Joe where like he inserts himself into her life. It's like, no, he is just stalking her. He's just like following her. He knows everything about her. I think this is like at the very beginning, so this is not a spoiler, but basically, if I remember right, he ends up burning down a coffee place that she goes to because he wants her to go to his coffee place. So he does all these things to like slightly manipulate her movements. So if she gets a boyfriend, he'll find stuff on him and purposely have it where she finds it, so then they break up. And like also, he has cameras all over her place. He has recordings of like when she has had sex, and then he goes to sex workers and listens to her moaning while he has sex with the sex worker as if it's her. And I found it weird at first because I was all like, is he never gonna be with her? And it's like, no, he doesn't actually want to be with her. Like, he does, but it's like he just finds her perfect, and it's just like he just wants to plan stuff. So Planning Penelope, he just wants to like have her do certain things that he wants to do without her noticing and everything like that. And it's very creepy because it's just like, imagine if you had a stalker that you just never knew, like you had no idea that like certain things were being done because the guy kind of made it that way. And it's like, whoa. Our Kind of Cruelty by Amerton Hall. This one is very close to You in the sense of like you're following a guy, like you following a guy in his head like you are with Joe Goldberg. But it's different because, so this guy had a girlfriend, and they had this really weird game where she would find a guy, flirt with him at the bar, and then he would come in there and kind of swoop in and be like the savior or something, and that would make them all hot and bothered. And that was their game. That was their game. They broke up. She is now getting married to some other guy, and she sends him like an invite to the wedding. And he takes it as, oh, we're playing our game. You want me to save you. And this book, like, I feel like Joe Goldberg is kind of like, in a way, somewhat of a likable character. Like, even though what he's doing is creepy and everything like that, but it's like, it's somewhat likable. This book shows the creepiness. It is like, he is so delusional. He really thinks that like, oh, she wants me to profess her love or our love in front of everybody. Like, okay, I'm gonna break your wedding up. Like, this is what you want. And it is so creepy. Like, he is so fucking delusional. He goes through like all this, like all the times they were together and everything like that in his head, and like he doesn't really get why she would want this. It's like, why would you want this? But like, he really is like, but I know this is what's like, you're not telling me this is our game. And it's just like, whoa. Like, damn. Creep by Jennifer Hiller. This one is about a woman gets involved with her TA, I think it's called, her assistant, because she's like a professor. She gets involved with him, but she ends up feeling bad after a while because she has a fiance, and she kind of feels bad after a while, and she like breaks it up with him, and the guy doesn't take it well, and he's basically like, no, you're not gonna break up with me. And actually, you know what, I'm not even really gonna do the work anymore. Like, you're just gonna have to deal with it. And if you don't deal with it, I'm gonna tell your fiance. And he does like all this crazy stuff. Like, he ends up showing that like he has a video of her and all types of stuff. And yeah, and it was basically a mistake that she messed with him because he does not take it well. And there's an actual sequel which is called Freak. So if you do like Creep, I do recommend you do Freak, because it literally goes right into like the second part and stuff like that. Like, this book is very much a two-part. I think you could technically read only one of them, but the second one goes so well with the first one that it's like, if you like Creep, I do recommend you actually read Freak. The Secret She Keeps by Michael Robinson. This one is about a woman who one day sees this woman at like a grocery store because she stocks shelves or something. She sees this woman and becomes very obsessed with her. She kind of wants her life. She's like, oh, she's so glamorous. She's like the mother that I want to be. And she's pregnant too. So she's kind of like, I just, kind of want to be her. And she just kind of tries to become her friend and everything like that. And I can't really say much more, but like, yeah, she's a little bit off her records. Like, you don't want to be her friend, basically. The next one is Mine, a Hate Story by Andy M. Long. This one is more a revenge thing, but there is stalking in it. This woman one day lost everything. She lost her baby, she lost her husband, and her house too. Yeah, she lost like all that in like one day. And years later, she basically stalks / gets revenge after the person that did it, that like caused like this trickle effect. Yeah, so like I can't really say much more, but like, yeah, she stalks / inserts herself into his life to get revenge on like the person that caused like this travesty in her life. The Wife Upstairs by Rachel Hawkins. This one is pretty recent, so I feel like a lot of people probably know this one, but this one is about a girl who is a dog walker. She's technically a kleptomaniac, so like she steals stuff also, and she ends up running into this guy, and she does stalk him to a degree and stuff like that. She inserts herself to, because she wants to be rich and like housewife and everything like that. So she does a lot of stalking and like mimicking to kind of getting to this position, and she ends up like bagging this guy, and he's not what he actually seems to be. And then like there's this suspicious death of like how his wife died, and then you find out that his wife was not really a good person and everything like that. And yeah, don't really want to go anymore, but this one is more stalking theme. It's not really a stalking book, but like there's plenty of technically stalking going on in here, because she isn't who she says she is, and she kind of like manipulates herself into like this community and stuff like that. The Audition by Rue Morkiami. I know I'm saying that wrong. This one, super short. Like you can get this one done in a day. It's like on Audible, I think it's like 4 hours long. And this one is about a guy who wants to get back into the dating world, and his friend suggests like, oh, well, if you don't want to do actual dating apps or dating websites or something like that, I don't even think there were apps, but like he doesn't want to do it in like a blind date type of thing. And his friend is like, well, we'll do like an audition, because he's like a radio person and they do scripts and stuff like that. He has like the hookup of like, we can just act like this is a movie. And like they have to kind of fake it, because they're like, yeah, we have to like actually act like we're doing a movie and like get a script and everything, because if it comes out that this was false, we can actually get into legal trouble. So they go through the whole process of like actually making a script, going to the radio saying that this is like a thing, everybody bringing their audition stuff, and they have an audition. Well, this guy gets obsessed with this one girl like super quick. Like he reads her bio before they even go to the audition, and the whole time they're at the auditions, he's not even interested. He's just waiting for this one girl, and he falls in love like right then and there, kind of, and everything like that. And he asks her like on a date, and he does all this stuff to like, oh, I'm not gonna call her for a few days and everything like that. And everybody around him is like, yo, something is wrong with this girl. And he's like, no, she's perfect. And the reason I say this one is stalking is because he does in a way stalk her. Like, he's very manipulative. It starts off on like with a lie, and then you find out like what's wrong with her and like how it kind of pulls in. So I'm gonna say this is stalking just because of the fact of like how much manipulation and how much he was like looking for her. Like he did stuff purposely. It wasn't like, oh yeah, we just kind of like connected and everything like that. No, he went out of his way to get with this girl, and it will be the biggest mistake he makes. And then the next one is The Breakdown by B.A. Paris. This one is about a lady who how it starts is she goes a different way. So there's like, I guess, a few ways to get to her house, and there is a short path to get to her house, but during bad weather it's recommended you don't go that way because it's like, I think it's somewhat in the woods, so like there could be like branches falling down and everything like that. Well, instead of basically not doing that, she decides to do that, and she ends up seeing that there's a car that's like kind of broken down, and she decides to not investigate because she's like, oh, like maybe somebody will get her, somebody think. So she decides not really to investigate because like there's like a storm going on, so she's like scared to like her get broken down too. She's just like, okay, everything is be fine. Like she felt shitty, but she's like, I can't really do nothing and everything like that. Like my husband would get mad because her husband told her when she was going home, do not take that path, and yet she does it. So she's kind of feeling guilty because she's just like, I'm not supposed to be out here anyways, and she's like, she'll probably be okay, she's probably calling somebody, blah blah blah. Come to find out that there was a murder that happened, that it, like in that car, whoever that person was got murdered, and she's like, oh my god, I kind of witnessed it in a way and stuff like that. And she's like freaking out because she's like, oh my god, I can't really tell anybody because I'm like, I wasn't supposed to be down there, I didn't really see anything, I didn't stop, like I don't know if the person saw me because I don't remember if the person was there or not. But she's like, I didn't, you know, she's like scared because she's like, oh my god, if I say anything, maybe the person will come after me. And she's like, I can't do that. And it actually turns out to be somebody that she kind of knows, or like she kind of knew, like in a way. So yeah. And what happens is she's scared. So the other part of this, so there's like kind of two things. So that happens, there's a murder, and she's feeling guilty, and she doesn't know if she saw anything or what. And at the same time, she's starting to think she's having dementia because her mom has dementia, and she's starting to have signs that she may have dementia because she keeps like misplacing things, forgetting stuff, forget if she did something. Like apparently she did an order, she doesn't remember doing that, but then it was like, well, we got the receipt, we have your payment, like this is you. And she's like, I don't remember doing this. So, and then also while this has happened, she's also thinking she's getting stalked by the killer. And because the husband thinks she's losing her mind, he doesn't believe her about the killer because she'll see a knife at one point, like in the kitchen, and then she leaves to go get the husband to show him, and then the knife will be gone. And so she thinks that the killer is like messing with her because he's calling the house when she's alone and not saying anything, and she like knows it's him. So it's a weird thing of like, is the killer stalking her, or is she just going crazy because supposedly she's having dementia because she's like constantly like misplacing things and doing stuff that she doesn't know that she's doing, but there's proof that she's done it. So this one is a, you don't really know, like you want to believe her, but at the same time the stuff is not adding up, and it's like, no. So you're like, oh, like is she just delusional or what, or is somebody literally stalking her and messing with her? The next one is The Best Day Ever by Carrie Hoda. This one is about a husband. He's basically a narcissist. Him and his wife are going to like their cabin in the countryside, I guess. And the whole entire time he's doing this kind of like inner dialogue and is basically saying how like this is going to be the best day ever. And you end up finding out that he is not a great guy. He is a narcissist. He is a stalker. Like, he stalks his wife and he manipulates things, and this day maybe has some plans. And it's really good because he paints himself in like the best light ever, like as if he is the greatest person. And this slowly his mask starts to fall, and it's just like, yep. Okay. The Wife Between Us by Gear Hendricks and Sarah Panani. I'm not sure. I know I can't say names. I'm sorry. This one, I'm sure a lot of people know that, but this one is a very basic, generic domestic thriller, which is not a bad thing. But just to warn you. And this one is about a wife gets replaced by her husband's secretary, and she's kind of like stalking the wife and everything like that, and she's kind of a mess and all this other stuff. And there's like 2 timelines going on, so I can't really say much because there is kind of a twist like around the middle. But like, yeah, she's basically stalking what is gonna be the new wife, because I think they're just engaged, so she ends up like stalking her. And then they also have another book called The Getaway, and I'm gonna recommend this one because it's on Audible, Audible Originals, and I think it's like 2.5 hours, and it's free from my understanding. At least I got it for free, but it's really good for being like a 2 hours little thriller. And the premise is a woman gets a free retreat deal, and she has like a stressful job or something like that, so she decides like, you know what, I'm gonna go on this. It's free. I need a time to like be alone. And yeah, let's just say bad things happen. Like, it's really short, so I can't say more than that, but it's like, yeah, not a great situation. The Girl Before by J.P. Pelney. Like I said, I can't talk. This one is about 2 women. They move into at different times, but it's basically one woman. She wanted to move because she ended up getting she got broken into at her house, and she wants to leave. She's like, I gotta get out of here. She doesn't feel safe, and she ends up finding this house that is like, it's really weird because the house has a lot of rules. Like, you can't live in a house in the sense of like, you can't have like a coffee table with like an actual coffee cup sitting on it. Like, this house is a display house, and it's really cheap. It's either cheap or free to live there, but you have to have it where at any time architectural students can come view it, so it has to be clean at like all times and everything like that. So it's a great house, but it's like you kind of just can't live in it. Like, you can't even really have like anybody sleep over or something like that. It's really weird. But so she moves in there because she kind of like, I think she kind of liked the whole fact of like, has a lot of security or something like that. So she was like, oh, that's fine. But the whole entire time she's there, she feels like somebody is watching her, and she just constantly feels like creeped out and everything like that. But I think you can't break your lease or something like that for a while, so she ends up having to deal with it. And then there's another girl that she moves away because she ended up having a situation happen in her life, and she was like, I want a dramatic change, basically. And she ends up finding out that somebody died at this house. So the whole time you're wondering if the other girl we're paying attention to, if she's the one, because supposedly somebody died in the house by like accident, by like falling down the stairs or something like that, but it's like a little suspicious or something. So you're kind of going back and forth from this one lady that supposedly feels like she's being stalked, and then another woman who is trying to figure out what the hell happened in this house. So pretty good. And then I'm gonna suggest 2 more books by Lev Constantine, which is The Last Mrs. Parrish. I feel like a lot of people know this one, but it does technically go with the whole stalking thing. There's a woman that befriends another lady because she wants her life, and she like does a lot of, you know, recon, trying to figure out what the guy likes to then make herself like that, and like inserts herself into the family, becoming a friend, and kind of like, you know, getting the wife to like do certain things to like piss the husband off, so then she can try to move in there and like have an affair with the guy and stuff like that. Come to find out, the wife knows the whole time. She doesn't give a fuck. And you figure like what all happens. And then the last one that I'm gonna recommend is The Last Shot. And this is a prequel to The Last Mrs. Paris, because there's a part in Last Mrs. Paris where they talk about how the lady that's stalking, that's trying to get the life, I don't remember her name, but they talk about how like she has a somewhat mysterious past, that like her husband died, like her prior husband died, and it seems like the family thinks that she murdered him and everything like that. And it never really gets found out whether this happened or not. In The Last Mrs. Paris, it's just more of a, this may have happened, she's manipulative, like she's a gold digger and stuff like that. Well, The Last Shot actually talks about what happens. Like she ends up talking about how she got the husband, and how he actually did die. Whether or not she killed him or not, you'll have to find out. But it's like, it actually talks about it, so it's kind of cool. So it's like, if you like The Last Mrs. Paris, I recommend The Last Shot, because it gives you a way bigger picture of the lady that you find out in the second, and technically the first book, but like the second book, in the sense of if you want to do in chronological order, it would be The Last Shot and then The Last Mrs. Paris and stuff like that. But that's it. I have probably a lot more, to tell you the truth, because what was it, what's the author's name, Greer Hendricks and Sarah P, whatever her name is, all 4 of their books, because I talked about 2, but all 4 of their books technically have stalking in it. Like The Anonymous Patient, I think it was called, and then like You're Not Alone, all those 2 also have like stalking themes in it. So like, if you like one of them and you like the whole stalking part, you may like all of them. Even though their books are very bipolar, apparently people either like one of them or like none of them, or like one but then not the other ones. It's kind of weird, but all of them actually do have like stalking themes in it. So if you like it, I recommend any of their books, because they all come with stalking. Anyways, I am done talking. I'm going to go now get my nails done and then go to the gym. Just have a good day.